The forgotten race, the stars were quiet. For thousands of years, the galaxy believed one thing: humans were gone. No signals, no ships, no colonies. The once feared Deathworlders had simply disappeared. Many thought they had destroyed themselves. Others believed they had gone into hiding, never to return. Eventually, even their name faded from memory. Children in schools learned about primitive Earthlings as a distant myth. But legends don't die. They sleep, and in the far edge of the galaxy, something finally woke them up. Dr. Inverell, an alien archaeologist from the Rillith species, floated through the cold ruins of an old, dead planet. The planet had no name, only coordinates. It was far, from the trade lanes and war zones, a forgotten place buried under layers of ash and silence. But Verrill had a theory. This world once belonged to humans. His team thought he was mad. There are no humans, Dreen, his assistant said. Even if they existed, they're long dead. But Verrill wasn't sure. The ruins spoke differently. He found strange metal shards, too advanced for any known race, foundations of buildings that looked like Earth design. And then the sphere. It was small, black, smooth, floating just above the ground, humming quietly as Verrill reached out to scan it. The sphere pulsed. Lights blinked across its surface. His scanner died instantly. A sound came, a whisper, in a language no translator could understand. Then it said, in perfect galactic standard, Terran relay active. Observers notified. Prepare for return. Verrill's blood ran cold. Across the stars, in a dozen forgotten locations, other Terran relics activated at the same moment. Some were deep under oceans, others buried in moons, a few hidden in the walls of ancient ruins. None of them were ever truly off. They had been watching, recording, waiting, and now they were awake. In the capital world of the Galactic Council, alarms rang for the first time in over a millennium. A communication burst had come through secure. Channels 1 not used in 5,000 years. The code signature, Terran Authority. Councillors rushed into emergency chambers. The high speaker of the council, an old insectoid named Jevon, stared at the decoded message. We are observing. Do not interfere. Your age of illusion is ending. The chamber fell silent. One councillor whispered, That's impossible. Earth was lost. No ship has returned from their system. Another answered, Maybe because no one ever left it alive. Meanwhile, small black drones began appearing on neutral planets. They didn't attack. They didn't speak. They floated, watched, then vanished, on the trade world of Nulla Prime. One drone hovered silently outside the planetary governor's palace. For hours, it just watched the city, then it broadcast a simple sentence. Do you still enslave your workers? The governor laughed and ordered it shot down. It vanished before the missiles hit the next day. Half the city's automated systems stopped working. No trace of hacking, just silence, and then rest. Clean air, free power, open security. The people cheered. The governor was gone. No one knew how. Across the galaxy, fear spread fast. Whispers traveled faster than light. Humans are back. They've been watching all along. They don't want war, but they will end it if needed. Old war generals remembered stories from their grandfathers about battles lost before they began, about ships that disappeared without reason, about a single Terran scout forcing an entire fleet to surrender. Most had thought those tales were exaggerated. Now they weren't so sure. On a quiet moon near a dying star, A small Terran scout ship. It was the first confirmed human vessel seen in over 20,000 years. Its design was terrifyingly clean. No markings, no weapons visible. But everyone knew, if a weapon existed, it was inside. The ship did not answer hails. It only scanned the system, paused for exactly 11 minutes, and then disappeared into FTL. But the message it left behind was found carved into the surface of a nearby asteroid. We left to give you peace. We return because you wasted it. In the Council archives, ancient sealed files were being unlocked. Files marked Terran contact, level red. Inside were reports, long hidden from public record. Reports of planets corrected by mysterious Terran teams. War crimes punished silently, empires rising to fast and then vanishing overnight. One file ended with a chilling note. Terrans do not conquer, they influence, and if influence fails, they erase. Back on the dead world where Dren Varel found the sphere, the ruins had begun to change. Machines were activating underground. Ancient structures were repairing themselves. A shape appeared on the horizon, a ship, dark, sharp, silent. Veril and his team watched in awe as it slowly landed. No words, no sound, and then a hatch opened. A tall, armored figure stepped out. A human, alive, real. He looked at the archaeologists for a moment, scanned them, and said one thing: "You woke us. The galaxy will remember what it tried to forget." The denial. Of the Council, the Galactic Council sat in silence, eyes fixed on the hollow projection hovering in the center of the chamber. The message from the Terran relay repeated once more, emotionless and final. "We are observing. Do not interfere. Your age of illusion is ending." It wasn't a threat. It was a statement. The insectoid high speaker Jevon finally broke the silence. "This, cannot be real. It must be a fabrication." Others nodded quickly, too quickly. Fear lingered behind their eyes. "Terrans are extinct," another delegate added. "They disappeared from the charts 10,000 years ago." "And yet," said Councillor Voka, an old, scaled veteran of the Goran Wars, "they left behind technology we still don't understand. Their AI outlived them. Their ships haven't aged. What if they never left at all?" The room grew colder. A young analyst entered the chamber, clutching a datapad. His voice shook. "Multiple worlds have reported ... anomalies. Terran drones, planetary reboots, entire systems restored overnight. And any violence?" Jevon demanded. The analyst swallowed. "None, not yet. But a Norkian warship that attacked a relay site vanished without a trace. No debris, no distress signal. That made them all fall silent again." Jevon tapped a long claw against the armrest. "We issue an order. All fleets are to avoid Terran coordinates, and no contact, until we understand their goals. But if they don't want to talk," one asked. Jevon looked toward the stars. "Then we must pray they don't want revenge." While the Council debated, far away in the shadow of the Ikari Nebula, 3 smugglers stumbled upon something ancient, an orbiting sphere, cold, black, the size of a city, floating silently, drawn. By greed, they sent a drone inside. It vanished. Then a message appeared on their cockpit screen. "This is a Terran vault. You do not belong here. You will leave now." They didn't. Their ship was found days later, empty. Systems intact, no bodies, no sign of struggle. Only one new message burned into the console. "This was your only warning. Back on the council capital, protests erupted. Billions were asking questions. Who were the Terrans? Why were their return signals hidden for weeks? What had the council known? In the underground halls of the Grand Archive, a restricted chamber opened for the first time in 5,000 years. Inside were records, marked species 01H, Terran, pages of battle reports, psychological analysis, cultural breakdowns, entire files locked under extreme caution. One sentence stood out in the oldest file. Humanity seeks no war, but it remembers every one. A shadow moved through the chamber. A silent drone hovered over the reader's shoulder, scanned the files, and left without a word. The records updated themselves. Pages once sealed, now opened on their own. It was as if someone on Earth was watching and wanted to remind them. In a small colony on the edge of known space, a child was born during a blackout. The med systems had failed, power gone, and doctors panicked. Then it all returned. Not just the power new systems appeared. More advanced, gentler, faster. No one could explain it but a Terran. Drone was seen floating above the hospital for a full hour before disappearing into orbit. The child lived, and the planet began to change. The Council, desperate to maintain control, called for a secret vote. Do we make contact? Shevin asked. Do we attempt diplomacy? One voice, shaking, replied, with beings that don't announce themselves, don't negotiate, and erase fleets without weapons. That isn't diplomacy, that's suicide. Voka, the Goran delegate, stood. You are all fools. We feared them because we misunderstood them. But they gave us centuries of peace. Do you not see? They didn't disappear. They gave us time to grow, and we wasted it. Silence, then a decision. Silence, in return, no contact, no aggression, just observation. Asterisk, but not everyone agreed. In the distant corner of the galaxy, the Arcari Dominion saw the Terran return as weakness. They hide in shadows, their warlord growled. Let's drag them into light. They deployed their fleet toward Earth's last known location, 72 warships, armed with the newest tech. They never arrived. Instead, a transmission appeared in their capital. A single image, their fleet frozen in space. Crews unharmed, ships untouched, but disabled. Hovering above them, one Terran vessel. No movement, no voice, just presence. Then it left, and so did the Arcari's will to fight. Meanwhile, on a quiet Terran moon base, hidden beneath Saturn's rings, an old commander stood before a large screen. Reports came in from every corner of the galaxy. Movement, fear, silence. He turned to his officers. Phase 1 is complete. They remember. And Phase 2, one asked. He smiled. They listen. The stars didn't change, but the way people looked at them did, not with wonder, but with caution, because the ones they forgot the humans had returned, and they weren't asking for permission. Asterisk, the return of the real the galaxy was no longer laughing bore for millennia. The Galactic Council had believed itself to be the highest authority. Its rules shaped politics. Its fleets enforced peace. Its illusions kept everyone in line. But now, those illusions were breaking one system at a time. And the reason? Terrans, on the mining world of Keller 7, nothing had changed for years. The workers were still treated like machines. The air was barely breathable. The powerful elite ignored all cries for help. Then, one morning, the sky cracked open. A black Terran ship hovered silently above the mines. It didn't fire, it didn't speak, but the atmosphere suddenly cleared. Machinery began to repair itself. Power flowed through dead systems, and when the mine owners tried to protest, their accounts vanished. Their control over the planet was gone within hours. The workers were free. No Terran ever stepped foot on the ground, but everyone got the message. Back on Earth, the real Earth, deep beneath the surface, the Terran command watched the galaxy tremble. Commander. Raylan stood before a large screen, watching a dozen live feeds from across the stars. Each showed a society shifting, empires stepping back, rebellions rising, civilians hoping for change. He turned to his team. "We don't need war," he said. "We just need to remind them of the truth." His aide asked, "And if they try to lie again?" Raylan's eyes narrowed. "Then we correct them, like we always do." In the outer ring, the Karvik Union sent a diplomatic envoy to Terran space. The Council had forbidden contact, but the Karvik leader knew better. Their ship approached Earth's system slowly, broadcasting peace messages. They expected to be stopped, scanned, or even erased. Instead, they were allowed in. A voice greeted them, not mechanical, not cold, but calm. "We welcome you. Your eyes are open. Let them stay that way." When they landed, they were shown technology that no empire had ever seen: clean energy, gravity fields, medicine that healed wounds instantly. No weapons, no threats, just power and a choice. Share this with those who listen, or leave. They left with their eyes wide open. Meanwhile, rumors flooded the galaxy. On Thalos V, a corrupt governor vanished overnight. His capital replaced by forests and lakes. A Terran drone was spotted leaving orbit. On Varnox, slave pens were opened by unknown forces. The guards were found unharmed but unconscious for 3 days. In every system, it was the same: a correction. No war, no death. Only justice. The people started calling it the return of the real dot, because humanity wasn't coming back to rule. They were coming back to fix the lies. The galaxy had told itself for too long in the halls of the Galactic Council. Chaos grew. "They're interfering," shouted one delegate. "They're changing the balance of power." "They're uplifting worlds," said another. "That's not war, it's mercy." Shevin, the High Speaker, slammed a clawed fist on the table. "It's control, silent control. If we allow this, the Council becomes meaningless." "Then maybe," said a soft voice from the corner, "it always was." All turned to see Voka, the oldest delegate. His voice was calm. "I remember when humans were feared, but also respected. We made peace only after they left. And now, maybe they've returned to see if we earned it." Elsewhere, in a hidden command ship orbiting a dying sun, a different kind of Terran crew met in silence. This wasn't the Council or diplomats. These were the Silencers, the elite force tasked with one mission: to erase threats before they become wars. Their commander stood at the front of the room, a grim smile on her face. 5 systems are trying to restart the slave trade. One is building a secret weapon aimed at Earth, and a rogue AI is manipulating trade alliances. Suggestions? A young operative raised a hand. "What's our goal?" "Stability," she replied. "Correction and silence." The team nodded within. Hours, those threats no longer existed. No ships launched, no shots fired, just silence. Back on the peaceful world of Nivalis, children played under twin suns. For the first time in a decade, there was no fear of pirate raids or border wars. A teacher pointed to the sky and said, That's the Terran patrol ship. It comes by every 6 days. Are they dangerous? A child asked. The teacher smiled. Only if you lie. Only if you hurt others. What if you're good? Then they protect you, even if you never see them. The galaxy was learning, not through force, but through the return of truth. Empires began to fall in line. New alliances formed not around fear, but around trust. The races that listened were rewarded. Those that resisted were ignored, not attacked, not destroyed, just left behind. And in a galaxy that now knew humans were awake, being left behind was the most terrifying thing of all. In a quiet cave on Mars, an old terminal lit up. The last line of an ancient Terran protocol blinked. Observation complete. Influence re-established. Awaiting resistance or evolution. Humanity had returned, not to conquer, but to break the lie. And now the stars would finally see the truth. Asterisk, when silence fails, suss the stars, change was happening. Quietly, quickly. Everywhere, civilizations that once ruled through fear were collapsing from the inside. Others that had suffered in silence were now rising thanks to one name whispered across every world, every station, every dark corner of the galaxy: humanity. They had not returned with banners or drums. They had not demanded land, tribute, or power. Instead, they brought something the galaxy had almost forgotten: accountability. But not everyone welcomed it. In the western arm of the galaxy, a proud and violent species known as the Trizari Empire believed they could stand against the shift. They had ruled for centuries with fire and chains. They saw Terran activity in neighboring systems and laughed. "We are not cowards like the others," their leaders snarled. "Let Earth come. We will remind them who controls this galaxy." And so, the Trizari made their move. They launched a fleet of 100 warships into what used to be Terran territory. The ships were armed with the latest tech, stolen and enhanced. They broadcast warnings ahead of them, demanding Terrans leave and never return. But when the fleet arrived, they found nothing: no bases, no planets, only one Terran relay satellite, small and still, floating among the stars. The Trizari commander ordered it destroyed as the missiles locked on. The satellite opened. It didn't explode. It spoke. "You were warned. Your arrogance has been recorded. This is your correction." Then every Trizari ship shut down, engines dead, weapons frozen, life support stable, but untouchable. One by one, the warships turned around, not by their own controls, by Terran will, and returned home in shame. The message was clear: this was not war, this was correction. The Council watched these events with growing panic. Their leadership was cracking. Many of their citizens no longer feared them. Why should they? They feared Terrans now, or worse, respected them. In secret, the High Speaker called an emergency vote. "We cannot allow humanity to decide what is right or wrong. If they won't listen to us, we must force them to." Some members hesitated. How do you force a shadow? But fear one. The Council authorized the creation of the Obsidian Protocol, a hidden fleet made in secret, away from Terran eyes, designed not to attack, but to erase Terran observation points before they could respond. It was a trap, silent, cold, and well-calculated, but it never triggered, because before it could launch, the Council's deepest data vaults were exposed. Across the galaxy, billions watched as hidden files flooded the network. Evidence of corruption, of betrayal, of suppressed requests for help from dying worlds, of dark pacts with pirate lords and arms dealers. No Terran voice claimed credit, no fleet arrived, no weapon fired, only truth. And truth broke the council more than any war ever could. On Earth, humanity watched the chaos unfold, not with joy, but with silence in the great Terran Council chamber. Commander Raylan stood with others of his kind leaders, thinkers, veterans, engineers. "We've removed the illusion," Raylan said. "Now the galaxy sees what it built in our absence. Should we lead them?" Someone asked. Raylan shook his head. "No, we are not here to rule. We are here to remind. And if they try to build those lies again..." He looked out the viewport into the stars. "Then we return again, until they learn." In a small farming village on a moon once forgotten by maps, a child looked up into the night sky. Her grandmother sat beside her, telling stories of the old days. "Long ago," she said, "there were humans, powerful, scary, but kind. Then they vanished. Why did they come back?" the child asked. The old woman smiled. "Because the galaxy forgot what truth was. And the humans, well, they remembered." The stars twinkled above. One of them moved. The child pointed. "Is that them?" The old woman nodded. Double quote, "Yes, little one, that's a Terran, watching." Fear had failed. Silence had failed. Even war had failed. What remained was something far more dangerous to tyrants and empires. Memory, because the humans remembered everything, every war, every betrayal, every cry for help that was ignored. And now, the galaxy would remember too, whether it wanted to or not. Asterisk the balance rewritten, the galaxy no longer looked the same. What was once ruled by powerful empires and greedy councils was now quiet. Not silent from fear, but from realization. People had started to think again, talk again, remember again. And at the center of it all, without banners or conquest, stood humanity, watching, correcting, and disappearing before anyone could speak. But this story wasn't over yet, because one power still resisted, and they were preparing for a final move. Deep in the dark heart of the galaxy, beyond council space, beyond even Terran reach, a secret meeting was held. The last alliance of warmongers, warlords, and lost kings gathered. They called themselves the Shadow Assembly. "These humans are ghosts," one shouted. "They show up, break everything, and vanish. No rules, no alliances, only judgment." Another slammed the table. "We cannot live under the fear of silent correction. If they won't rule the galaxy, we will destroy what they leave behind." Their plan was brutal. Collapse key systems, destabilize rising peaceful worlds, make the galaxy turn on itself again. If they want to watch, the leader growled, let them watch chaos. Within days, dozens of peaceful planets were hit by mysterious blackouts. Leaders were assassinated. Supply chains vanished. Old weapons from forgotten wars resurfaced. Panic began to return. Whispers spread. Is humanity gone again? Have they abandoned us? But the Terrans were still there. They were just waiting on a quiet colony moon. A young diplomat named Arella stood in front of a desperate crowd. "I know you're afraid," she said, "but I believe the Terrans are testing us now, not fixing this chaos. Not yet, because they want to see if we'll stand or fall on our own." The crowd fell silent. She stepped back, unsure if her words meant anything. But above, A black Terran probe floated just out of sight. Recording, listening, waiting, back on Earth, Commander. Raylan stood in the Terran Grand Observatory. Screens flickered with chaos and hope in equal measure. His advisors argued behind him. "They're testing us," one said, "trying to force our hand." Another, "They want to provoke a war response. Let us break the silence." Raylan didn't move. He watched one screen in particular. It showed Erila, calm, brave, leading. Not with fear, but with belief. "She gets it," he said softly. "The galaxy's future doesn't need our power. It needs our memory." His second-in-command frowned. "Then we do nothing." Raylan turned. "No, we make them remember who they are, without us." One by one, the chaos faded. Not because Terrans interfered, but because people like Arella stood up. Leaders stopped hiding .worlds, began helping each other instead of calling for Earth and the Shadow Assembly. They vanished, not wiped out, not destroyed, just erased from relevance, because when the galaxy didn't take their bait, they lost their power. They were ignored. And in this new galaxy that was worse than death, soon after, a message was sent across every system, this time from the Terran Council. Short, clear, you remembered. You stood, now build. It was not a command. It was an invitation. On a once broken world, cities bloomed again. On a moon that once knew only war. Schools opened, and across the stars, the name Earth was no longer whispered in fear, it was spoken. With respect, not because humanity was the strongest, not because they ruled, but because they chose not to. They could have taken everything, led everyone, controlled it all, but they didn't. They watched, they waited, and when the galaxy asked for help, not orders, they gave it. Years later, children sat in classes across a dozen planets, learning about the vanishing age, the time when Earth disappeared and later returned. A teacher asked, "Why do you think the humans came back?" A child raised her hand. "To fix things." She guessed. The teacher smiled. "Not to fix," she said, "to remind." In a small Terran outpost near the edge of known space, a young cadet looked up at the stars. "Commander," he asked, "what? Now peace is spreading. Do we stay out here forever?" Raylan, older now, but still strong, stood beside him. "No," he said. "We don't stay. We keep moving. We keep watching. Because somewhere, someone will forget again. And when they do," he pointed to the stars, "we'll be there." The galaxy didn't become perfect. There were still mistakes, still conflict, still choices. But there was a balance now, a balance shaped not by fear, but by the silent presence of the ones who came from a death world, vanished into myth, and returned not as conquerors, but as the mirror that made the galaxy face itself. Humanity had vanished, then returned, and now the galaxy would never forget them again.